Morning, guys. I'm up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday making videos for you, so love me. No, I just don't sleep. But anyways, someone on YouTube asked for a mudpro Alterra Articat review. This is a machine I looked into last year, decided I hated it, and never thought about it again. But I figured I should tell you guys why I hate it. So, from the surface level, it looks cool, right? Nice, well-shielded, integrated radiator snorkel pod, kind of like the new Can-Am Outlander XMR 700. It's got a winch, it's got Zilla tires, which we like. It's got these wheels that look like they came off a TRD Pro. Price is a little high for a 600, but they say it's got 45 horsepower. So let's just go through here and I'll start pointing some stuff out. Some of the premium things, some things we do like. Worn winch, cool. Front locking differential, cool. Here's the engine. This is where things start to fall apart. You see how far this oil pan drops down beneath the engine? That's always a problem. That means that the crankshaft is much higher than it should be. This crankshaft should be down here. This ruins your center of gravity. The only reason they can make this work is because this engine is rear facing. This wouldn't fit in an ATV otherwise for the most part. It's a really goofy engine design. Also, the engine is not combined with the transmission, right? This is just an engine. There's no room for gears in here. Can-Am finally figured out you got to combine the engine and the transmission, have one oil common between them. This company, whoever is making this Alterra engine, I assume it's Articat, hasn't figured that out yet. So that's not great. These handlebars look super cheap. The brakes look super cheap. They're on the wrong side. Why are the handlebars bent like this? Looks like something you'd buy at Bass Pro. Let's keep going. A shot of the suspension here. Pretty flimsy looking, all small. 12.8 inches of ground clearance. Decent, whatever. These ground clearance numbers don't really ever mean anything to me. This just kind of determines how much preload they set in the suspension. More junky looking plastic. Really cheap looking switch here. And cable. All right, here we go. So here's a picture of the engine. So let me do a little Control Plus here, so you can see a little better. You got airbox down here, long intake pipe, throttle body goes into the engine. The engine's backwards. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, is this the same engine as that new Can-Am? The answer is no. But they did do the whole engine backwards thing first, which is cool. They say it's one of a kind. You need to update your website, guys. It's not anymore. But anyways, nice footwells, goofy looking shifter here. Yeah. So where does it really go wrong? Let's keep going. We've already talked about this. Adaptable risers, whatever. Storage more, whatever. More torque. More torque sounds great. However, they use the term transaxle here, and that is not what you want in an ATV. So I've had a Polaris 570 with the transaxle. I've had several of the old Suzuki 300 King Quads, and before that the 250s that were transaxle. Every transaxle ATV sucks, and that's because the weight distribution is terrible. Yeah, they do wheelies great, but they can't pull out of mud holes. The handling's all wrong. The front understeers. You don't want a transaxle. To make that work, you have to shift the engine too far back, right? So we're talking about this engine's facing rearward and leaning rearward. Well, there's also a transaxle back there, meaning instead of there being a separate rear differential, the axles plug right into the transmission. So here is a great visual of that if you look at the parts diagram for this machine. So I try to do more than just read you specs. I do a little more research than that because I'm not like all the other losers on YouTube. So here's the transmission on this Alterra 600. It's goofy looking. You've got your belt input to this shaft, right? I'm pretty sure that's where your belt clutches would go. And then you've got this shaft out here that goes to the front. We'll talk about that in a minute. And your CV axles would plug in right here to this rear ring gear. It's just super goofy. It doesn't use any chains, or does it? It does. What's this? 45 right here. It's got a chain in it too. Very Polaris. Yeah, chain silent. Okay, you don't want this thing, guys. Any transmission with a chain in it is stupid, right? Reverse chains break all the time. They stretch, they wear out, you get water in it, whatever. This thing is off the list for me for a lot of reasons, but this is one of them. So the transmission is this big-ass unit right here, and this is sitting right on top of your rear axle, which means this thing's going to be very ass-heavy. Okay, now let's look at the front drive. you've got this long ass front drive shaft, right? This is the transmission we're talking about, coming all the way up here to the front. Now, remember we were talking about the engine was kind of high? That's why. The engine has to sit above this big old drive shaft because the transmission is a transaxle in the very rear. You get this long driveline angle all the way to the front diff. That's just not good. I mean, they use a little accordion bellows. I think that's also bad, but whatever. Something Arctic has done forever. That's why you get this stupid looking engine, because there's a drive shaft right here. So this thing is off the list for like a million reasons. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you. I guess I could go through the specs, see if there's anything I want to talk about there. Try not to bore you guys too much. CV Tech, that's cool. I like those. They're cheap, but they are functional. They're not like amazingly adaptable, I would say, CVTs, but they're simple and easy to maintain. I put them on a few machines. Rear differential, there isn't one, obviously, so don't call it locked. There's no differential, so don't call it a differential. Just call it the rear gearbox or rear end. Idiots. Suspension, not super overwhelming, like, you know, not top performing. I like that it comes on 14-inch wheels. That's nice. Good rack capacity. Weight, it's pretty heavy. They say overall weight, but I think I read another number closer to 1,000 pounds. So I'm not sure. Weight never really means anything. Features. Oh, it's got electric start. That's amazing. Yeah. Fully skid plate. Cool. But yeah, guys, don't buy these. There's a reason you never see them at the mud parks. It's because they're basically, you know, a Walmart ATV that belongs in a Bass Pro Shop showroom being sold to complete idiots. Okay, that's my opinion. Goodbye.